Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, this makes our job a little bit easier, right? Post lunch, second session, and probably the smallest fireside chat I've ever done on security. I think if I start defining what is cyber security, it will take more than 16 minutes that the timer shows. Once again, thank you to Economic Times, my fellow esteemed panelists. I think we've got a very uh, diverse team panelists with very diverse experience. And you know, I don't need to preach to the choir, right? Everybody is very interested about cyber security. Even somebody who picks up a newspaper once a week would see some news in the newspaper because of a cyber breach, right? And our biggest hospital today is making headlines every single day. There were a couple of other big cyber breaches. In fact, a CISO in US had to undergo some jail term because of a cyber breach. So cyber is happening all around, right? Whether go to any meeting, I think 3 or 4 things you can't miss. You can't miss a discussion on cloud, AI, ML, or cyber security. You know, that's the beauty of our profession. So let me start with you, Neha. What are some of the biggest threats you see in today's world?
So one you already picked up when you mentioned the hospital. So ransomware is there. It was there for quite some time, but it is growing at an immense rate. The other one which I would say is phishing and spear phishing is here to stay. Targeted attacks for data theft as well as cloud continues to be again a new realm. Not a new, rather growing realm. And the other thing which has picked up really is the attack surface exposure due to the IoT. The adoption of IoT is creating a huge opportunities for attackers to exploit, and then the attacks on critical infrastructures continue to grow. So I think those are the top 4 or 5 things that come to my mind as most pertinent threats.
Thank you. I actually saw a video on YouTube. Either it was on YouTube or it was on my most favorite university, which is the WhatsApp University, which actually showed how IoT thread could hamper our lives, right? It says that your car is connected to the gas station, which is connected to the traffic light, and all of them are in sync, right? One single breach anywhere, and everything could go for a toss. Coming to you, Bittil, you know, you do a lot of work in critical infrastructure, and with so many new technologies coming in, you know, with IoT, cloud, AI, ML, etc. Do you think training and awareness is right up there where it needs to be? Are these only buzzwords, or there is actually some work happening on ground on these?
No, I think the education and the awareness around cybersecurity is very important. And it's something which we as security professionals have been trying to teach for many years now. Unfortunately, as a human being, we are wired in a way that unless we burn our hands or fingers, we don't learn. So over the years, we have tried multiple approaches to increase the awareness. And trust me when I say that nothing works, right? Now, all of us as professionals or individuals, we use a lot of technology at home. We talk about IT, IoT, and whatnot, cloud. We are, as a consumer, we are using all of that at homes as well. But somehow when we enter our office premises, the common sense is left behind at home, right? So one latest approach which we are taking, Jaspreet, as a GMR, we are trying to touch the personal side of every employee. So we are running a program for around 6,000 people, wherein we call it Cybercrime First Responder Program. And it's a 15 hours of program. It is scheduled that you can learn it from home. So it is scheduled in the evening or over the weekends. Family members are welcome to come and join that training. And we're trying to teach, well, the perils of digital in the personal life. For example, most of us don't know that while we use Instagram or WhatsApp, our kids don't use that, right? They are on totally different platforms, and those are dangerous platforms. When you go back home, do check on your kids' systems, and you will see that they must be using Discord, you know, to talk with their classmates. So we try to touch on that personal side of our employees, because if the common sense enters the home from a digital standpoint, it will come to my workplace as well. So far, we launched the program 4 months back, Jaspreet, So far, I have 300 certified cybercrime first responders. They are capable of not just helping their families, but their societies, their communities as well. And with that, they bring a lot of that common sense from a digital standpoint to workplace as well. A very common example: when at home you receive suddenly a Amazon package, which you haven't ordered for, you will ask around in your family, did you order something from Amazon? Or you will try to shake the box before you open it up. That's common sense. It's ingrained into us as human beings, because safety is very natural to us. But when it comes to digital world, that doesn't come naturally. So we are trying very new approaches, trying to touch on that personal side of people so that it make them realize, what your kid is doing is possibly not safe for them, and it'll jeopardize your entire family as well, and with that, the workplace will also get impacted. So that's an approach. I don't know whether it's going to work or not, but so far I think we've seen good response.
Amazing, Vittal, and I'm surprised you're actually doing that, because a lot of companies we talk to, their sense of security training is even more amazing. It's like a 45-minute training once a year, tick mark, next, you're done. And especially, when you're bringing in the entire, home aspect, there are no boundaries now, right? Because when you go home, you connect your office laptop also to your home Wi-Fi. So gone are the days when you were sitting behind an enterprise-wide security network. Today, it's actually a borderless world. I mean, I would probably not ask for it, but hands on heart, whenever we go to stay in a hotel these days, the first thing, what do we ask? We ask for a Wi-Fi password. And what do we do on that Wi-Fi password? We do everything, right? We do internet banking, we check our office emails, etc. And please read the rules of a hotel. They track everything. They are bound by the government to track everything that you do on their Wi-Fi network. Once you read those rules, you will never go and ask for a Wi-Fi from the hotel. But with that, ma'am, the country is evolving. This is probably my favorite question. We've got the certain rules which were just passed about, I think, last week of April. We've got the draft digital bill, which talks a lot about privacy. How do you think, with whatever is happening from a technology world, is the regulation geared up to catch up with it?
Regulation will always follow technology. It would be actually utopian to expect it to play otherwise, and I don't think the technology world would really want it to be ahead of technology. Because ultimately, when you see how technology grows, it always has a faster growing, curve when you let it be without law intervening or interfering in that process. But I always call it the tipping point for technology also, At one point of that growth curve, you do need that support or buttressing to help technology leapfrog to the next level. So it may seem very optimistic for a lawyer to say this, but believe me, that certainty that law brings to you, that clarity and confirmation in terms of the safety for your investment that law can provide is actually that leapfrogging which I'm speaking about. So that tipping point is where law can either come in and be an enabler or be the stumbling block. You gave two examples which are two different aspects. That's why I gave this preamble to answering that question. When you look at the certain rules, often the aspect about how certain's role is meant to be an enabler, it's meant to help industry, that gets lost in the aspect that you are expected to do compulsory reporting. The angst that the regulator has, that industry is not reporting sufficiently or on time, etc., is manifest in the new provision they introduce, including of the timestamp and how you're supposed to synchronize your clocks. So that is micromanaging a system, and the reason is because they have faced non-reporting despite it being mandatory, and despite the earlier certain rules providing very stringent action in the event of non-compliance, because it was mostly not really enforced. So today what you have is actually an outcome of you not having followed the rules earlier. Data protection, that tipping point, I told you, can either enable, and the other part of it is, or stifle technology. According to me, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act could actually stifle. Because often when we speak about the new draft, we focus on the issues that impact individuals. But today, in my short intervention, I'd like to focus on how it can impact you as a business. You need certainty. You need to know where your investments are going, where your business is going, when you're even formulating an architecture, right? So, I always say that one of the biggest rug pulls is always by the government. So, if you have a government telling you, I will decide as and when I want, what is it that I want to enforce as a regulation, and unlike a parliament law which is going to take many, many years, it's glacial. I can change it at the drop of a hat. And today, if I like it, I will say, oh, you can do whatever you want, collect whatever data you want, because we want to, you're a startup and we want to help you along. And tomorrow I'll do a rug pull on you. So that's why the present draft is not a good thing. So if you really want law to be an enabler, if you really want it to help businesses, clarity, certainty, and transparency in that law, which only a parliament enacted law can bring, because it can't be changed that easily. That's why a technicality becomes a practicality in law. And over to you, Jaspreet, on that note.
Ma'am, excellent points. I think, especially on the transparency piece, very, very important. I'll probably like to ask audience a small question before I continue with my panelists. Do you think as Indians, we are bothered about our privacy? Yes, no? Somebody said yes. I'm a little surprised, but thank you whoever said yes. I'll probably give two examples. I know if it's wedding season in Delhi, right? All of you would be getting wedding cards. We see all kind of information available on wedding cards, right? From all family members, address, phone numbers, right? And I travel a lot by trains. If you see at the right where you board the train, there's a full chart which says what's your name, age, and there's a PNR number. If there are applications available, if I type that PNR number, I can actually get all details on how you booked your ticket. So that as a, and you spend, and you don't need to be a techie to do all this. You spend 2 hours with somebody in a flight, you'll know the entire history of that person. So that's my personal belief that EU had DPA since 1995 and they brought in GDPR in 2016. We as a country, we don't have anything yet, right, except our IT Act, which has few references to privacy too, yeah. Apart from that, we certainly can't directly move to a regime where we, say, let's lock everything. Neha, you brought a point about the entire ransomware piece being very, very, very prevalent. So what are some of the steps you would advise a company to protect against ransomware? Sorry, yeah ma'am, please.
I just wanted to do a quick intervention on what you said about, how we don't have a robust data protection mechanism and therefore we have to grow into it. I just wanted to say, yes, we do, but when? And by when and how? So the statement that's being made of the new draft saying we are giving you a simple draft because we are just starting is missing the point between the distinction between simple and simplistic, distinction between simple and unworkable, unenforceable. So we all want, who amongst us will not want a simple law? But that simple law still should tick the right boxes.
That's why we need a lawyer.
It still has to provide the protection it's meant to give, enable where it is meant to do, and not just become a stumbling block. Sorry, I just wanted to
That's why we need a lawyer, right, to read
I'm
between
so
the lines.
glad you're always going to need me.
Yeah, Neha, please.
Yeah, so I think this is my view. And again, when I say it's more like most of the organizations today have a traditional incident response management process in place. But what I would say is treat ransomware as a specific case wherein we design a ransomware detection to a response strategy. When I say detection, ransomware has to get in. The first step is, if it has to get in, it will be your email security aspect of it. Somebody has to click on it, the user awareness part will come into the phishing drills and all. Then at certain point with respect to analysis and part, the SOC SIM will come into play, but that is more about the attack part of it. think about like the way we do DR drills, we should have a ransomware response drill. As a parallel to that, who needs to be informed, who needs to take the decision whether the ransom will be paid or not, what is the value or you attach to the data which you have lost during ransom. Those are the key attributes you need to think through while preparing your ransomware response strategy. I mean, I would say that one should have a very detailed, instead of it being a subset of an incident management process, have a specific scenario-based ransomware response strategy, because of it's been a huge spurt. I mean, the statistics are very alarming with respect to ransomware, and especially the AIMS is, the one in news is very closer home. So I would say that ransomware needs to be treated as a specific case which needs to be deep dived.
Excellent point. Having a ransomware response strategy, I don't even know how many people would actually be able to answer today a question sitting in this room, and these are the topmost minds in business, saying, will you pay a ransom or not? Or what are those 5 key decision points that would that you would factor in to arrive at a decision whether you'll pay ransomware or not, right? And you used a very key term. What's the value of my data that's been compromised? Thank you for that. So if you look at, we spoke about the the privacy bill, we spoke about ransomware, OT attacks, etc. Now suppose all of this happens, we need cyber insurance. So let me get Betel's perspective on cyber insurance. Do you think everybody should buy cyber insurance, not buy cyber insurance? I've read a couple of cyber insurance policies. It's like buying a home loan, right? It's very, very biased towards the bank. Everything goes wrong is my responsibility. So should I buy, not buy, and if yes, what should I look into?
So let me answer that by asking a question to the audience here. How many of you have cyber insurance, if you can raise your hand, as an organization?
That's less than
Yeah,
2%.
Yeah, wonderful. We are not the only one.
Yeah.
I think what is happening, I think let's understand what is happening. It's no-brainer that insurance will definitely help. It's no-brainer. But of lately what is happening is that a lot of these insurers, these banking organizations who provide cyber insurance, because the number of claims have gone up significantly over the last 2 or 3 years, right? So they're tweaking the policies little bit. So I think we should be aware. I think those who don't have it and considering it, look from the standpoint of 2 things. I think number 1 is the deductible. There will be a term when you negotiate with them. And deductible is fundamentally an amount wherein you need to incur a loss beyond that number to be able to put in a claim. That number is very, very important. Just see if it makes sense for your business or not. So number 1 is deductible. Number 2 is the business impact or business downtime. These companies do put a cap on that. Depending on what sector your company falls under, there would be a typical cap. For example, for aviation, they try to put in a cap of 10 hours. That doesn't make sense, right? You will see some ridiculous numbers like for deductible 5 crores. If you as an organization have segmented your network and the infrastructure, you are limiting your risk to this particular segment, and you may not be incurring a loss beyond that number of that amount, right? So remember the deductible and remember the business downtime cap which they put in the insurance policies. I think that should be the one. Of lately, we have seen our experiences that these companies are putting numbers which makes it absolutely impractical for companies to say, yeah, let's go and buy it. So just keep these 2 terms in your mind.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and buy it is a very important term, I think, that you used. But I think everybody should evaluate cyber insurance, especially in Giver's time, because Neha was talking about, ma'am was talking about the number of cyber attacks going up. And believe me, what you see is only a tip of the iceberg. Almost 90% of cases are never reported. Only if it goes out of hand and media gets a hang of it, believe me, are those cases being reported. Otherwise, there are so many cases that are just being swept under the carpet. Thank you so much, fellow panelists. I think this is the best we could do in under 15 minutes. The red screen's glowing on us. Please give a huge round of applause to my panelists. Thank you.